Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be tuning in from. Welcome to the TAFO, the Truck Around and Find Out podcast, where we discuss some fun and hot topics surrounding the trucking industry, safety, community, and kind of our lives here in northern Colorado. We're your hosts. I'm Keith Couch with Rocky Mountain Peterbilts on YouTube and Rush Truck Centers in Greeley, Colorado. And we have Mr. Ryan Byers with us of Front Range Compliance and DOT University. Morning.
Good morning, Keith. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Fantastic.
I don't want to forget Redbeard. He's at the helm. So
we got Redbeard working the controls over there. And so we are coming in. We're dead finished with winter. We just finished that big cold spill. How did everything fare for you in the spell?
Yeah, good.
We had an interesting surprise. We woke up and Holly got up early and she came in, and apparently our bathroom in our master bathroom, our pipes are real close to the wall.
Oh boy.
And she turned the water on and nothing came out. I was like, uh-oh. So, well, it started to come out, didn't take it very long. So it didn't freeze up totally. So we didn't have any breaks, thank goodness. But definitely have a concern that I need to start investigating and figuring out that. And I'm not quite sure how to deal with that exact situation other than a big hole and moving things, or I don't know, figuring out how to get the heat to drop into that space. I absolutely don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that one out.
Well,
so that's a little terrifying.
And I mean, you can just leave it. It's just, if you know it's going to get cold, just open up the cupboards underneath.
Yeah. I think because it's right along that wall, and my concern is because it wasn't real cold inside where it came up into the cupboard. It's the line where it comes up from the underneath the floor right there, because you have that void, and that's my real concern.
That's probably where it's at.
And it is sealed off. Like there's no looking down in there. I mean, everything is tight fitted, and I'm just real concerned.
More than likely, that's where it's at.
Yeah. So we had that little shocker for that cold spell.
Well, at least he didn't get water in the house.
Not yet. We're going to get that figured out before that next cold spell hits. But, hopefully we don't have too many more. But it seems like we always have a few like 10 below days every winter here. And
yeah, we've had a very mild winter.
Yeah, we sure have.
That was a cold snap we needed. Got some moisture that we needed, but the mountains still need more.
A lot more. If we're going to be awful smoky this summer if we don't start seeing some snow. But usually our biggest snow months are right around the corner. But so I have a big update. We've been working on the garage, and we're getting real close to getting it done. We just have some shelving to put up. Just some open shelving to get in there, and a couple other little framing things to put in there. We discovered when we were framing out the window, we put in like a top board shelf on there. So we're just doing like a dark stained wood trim out of like 1x4. And we got up there, we measured it, got everything, and we cut everything as it should be, 90-degree angles if things are built to square and finished right. And we set that board in that plate, in the bottom of the shelf, and discovered that when they finished the garage, that they weren't really paying attention to detail with their tape measure very good. So everything had to be, custom measured and fit in there. And you looked at the board and it looked like a 5-year-old cut it out, but it fit perfectly in there and trimmed in. It looks super, super nice. But yesterday I had the hot dog heater installed. So are you familiar with that type of garage? Do you? Yeah. Your garage. We've talked about your garage. Yep. It's spectacular.
It'll give you a sunburn if you're not careful.
Yeah, good. So now this morning I walked out into the garage and it was a balmy 60 degrees out there. I was like, oh, what a change. What an absolute change. So super, super nice. But the guy that was installing it, he walked in and was looking around and told me my garage looks like a showroom. So I was very very happy about that. I'm very, very happy.
I sat and watched the Broncos and the Patriots. I was in shorts, t-shirt, flip-flops. Yeah. Sitting in my garage, watching the game. I got a 75-inch TV out there.
Yeah, you do.
And I've got a hot dog going, and it's like, it was 70 degrees in the garage.
Yeah. Your garage is spectacular, also for sure. So we got that done. I got the workbench. We did a big shelf. The shelf and the workbench are butcher block. So they're absolutely, and they're stained and clear coat finish, and The workbench is all stained wood with some really beautiful shelves.
I kind of did. You've seen my bench. It's kind of butcher block, but at the time, Mike Munson was working for trailers. What's the trailer one on I-76?
Merritt?
No, out farther.
Oh, further. Oh, okay.
I'll think of it. Anyway, I happened to be talking to him, and he said, hey, we got some of this flatbed decking, hardwood flatbed decking, and he said, we ordered too much for a customer, and he said, we got three of these left. I'm like, okay. So he sold them to me at wholesale and delivered them at wholesale. So I just threw that in. So
yeah,
technically mine is still with the trucking industry.
It is.
Nice.
That
Flatbed.
is nice. Very nice.
But it does. It looks just like butcher block.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
And then I finished it with tung oil. TUNG.
Gotcha.
And I guess with tung oil, the longer it's in the wood, the harder it makes the wood.
Really? Really? Wow. Yeah. Very, very nice. It looks beautiful, and
it does. Looks good.
I'm super, super excited about it. Once we get it all finished up, we're gonna have a little garage get together. We can all come out, check it out with the.
It was already looking really nice.
Well, when we were all there at Halloween, it wasn't right. It was still unfinished. We hadn't started the project yet, and I actually whipped out some of the pictures because we've been working on this since Halloween, and looking at the pictures and was like, wow, yeah, what a difference. It's just night and day, absolutely. But I love it when the neighbors are walking by. A guy and his wife will be walking by, and she's looking straight ahead walking, and if our doors are open, he's walking with his head at a 90-degree angle, looking into the garage.
Garage envy.
You want to come check it out? I got a beer in here. You can skip the walk?
Yeah, I get that too, and that's fun.
Yeah, super, super excited. Got my freezer in place, so I got this new big commercial grade stainless steel freezer, so the old chest freezer. You know how the chest freezer is, that you lose things into the abyss of the chest freezer.
Yeah.
And so I was moving everything over, and so I do poblano peppers every year. That's the first thing I moved over. And I discovered that one thing that I hadn't really paid attention to with the poblano peppers in the chest freezer is after we bag them and seal them, we need to wash the bags, because I've always just put it in the chest freezer and never really noticed, because how often do you make it to the bottom? But when I was moving everything over to the new freezer, I was like just making a mess just of all the little flakes from the roasted peppers and that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to change my ways on a few things, the way I do stuff. But yeah, so very, very excited, turning out super good, and very, very.
I spent this last 3 weekends. I spent working on my toolboxes. Organizing, getting everything with all like things together in a drawer. And so I've taken 3 large toolboxes and condensed it down to 2.
Yeah, I've got to do that next. Soon as we have the space and everything, the toolbox is going to be one of my weekend focuses. Mark
at work, even my dad, they'll look in my toolboxes and say, "You're sick. Something wrong with you." Because everything's got to be.
Everything in a spot.
Perfect, yeah.
Beautiful
spot. I need to be able to open the drawer and at a glance know that's missing.
Yeah. Well, my toolbox, I organized it, and then we've moved it back and forth, and I am very, very bad about taking stuff and putting a work bag together or a kit to go work on something, and next thing stuff is spread out, and I've got things here and there, so I've got to change my ways and get on top of that toolbox. But that's one of my next projects. I get it back and reorganized. It's somewhat organized now. So
it's amazing how much just junk I had in there. Stuff that's like, this shouldn't be in here.
Yeah. That's the top. I've got one of those that opens up on the top, and that kind of becomes a, hey, throw it up there and that kind of thing. So we were working on. Well, we were cleaning out the basement, and some of the stuff that I'd kept for years for the kids to take, I told them, not Luke, but Natalie, I said, hey, I need you to take your stuff. So I saved all of her dresses, all of her prom dresses, and all of her high heels that she's had to have since she was 13 years old. And she literally walked in and said, oh, just get rid of all these. I don't want them. So I picked, I was like, I was a little upset about it. I was like, I have moved this from a couple different times, and I have saved everything for just so you could have it for your daughter, so they can play dress up.
Well, what would have happened if you wouldn't have?
What she would have wanted it? Yeah, of
absolutely.
course. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So I picked out the gaudiest set of high heels that she had. So this all started, I think, when Natalie was about 12, 13. Her and her friends would go hang out at the mall, and they'd go try on all their high heels. And one day she came home with these god awful high heels. She wanted me to throw them all away. So I saved one pair, and I was like, those are for your daughter, right? And not even thinking about it, during the time, I threw those up on top of the toolbox, and I left them there. Well, we had one of my handymans, Alan, was there working on it, and he went to get something out of the toolbox and came up to me. He says, you want to explain to me what this is about? Why you have these are like diamond, like rhinestone studded high heels that you'd see in a club, that kind of thing. I was like, those are my daughter's, and I am saving them for my granddaughter. They just happened to get set right there, and something got stacked on them, and I forgot about them. But anyways, so you've been working on the RV project, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to will camping season to get here. So.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it.
Even yesterday I went and filled up twin 30-pound bottles of propane, so I thought, well, I might as well get them full.
Yeah.
Get them back on the tongue of the trailer, and I'm going to grab it this weekend and bring it over to the house. And we've got a bunch of stuff that we've purchased over like Christmas and stuff like that that needs to go in the RV. And so I thought, well, I'll just bring it home, open it up. Don't need to turn on any water. Don't need to de-winterize it, or summarize it or whatever. Won't do any of that, but I put in a new smart TV. It's just a small 25 Keystone Cougar 25 RDS travel trailer. So it's 30 feet overall tip to tip, but only weighs about 6,000 pounds. So it's half ton towable.
Very cool.
Just kind of go through it.
Yeah. Get it.
Make sure everything's organized, put away, and the stuff that needs to go in it is in it. And I bought a new propane pit.
Okay.
It's called a Howell R1. R1, yeah, Howell R1, HOWL. They're made down here in Wheat Ridge.
Oh, okay.
But they're legal for like if there's burn bans or, campfire bans or anything like that, you can use these because they just use propane.
Okay.
And I can just hook it into the side of I've got an extension port, I guess you'd call it, for propane. Just hook it into that. I bought a 25-foot propane hose to extend it so I can move it wherever I want. It's just a little.
Yeah. Are those
propane?
Are those like the little like stainless steel like fire pits?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen those.
It's not round. This one's actually rectangular. It's about the size of a shoebox, but it puts off a 32-inch flame.
Wow.
So, and they're made right here.
That's pretty cool.
So probably ought to try that in my garage.
Yeah, you probably should. You probably should check that out, or at least just on the outside. But yeah. Well, fantastic. So big projects. Winter's going to be here. Of course, the winter we've been having, or I meant to say summer's going to be here. Winter we've been having. You'd probably be using that RV sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I've only had to have a kind of what I would classify as a winter coat or winter vest.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
And we're at the end of January.
Well, this cold spell, man, that thing went nationwide. The southern states.
It's like Pensacola, Florida had 7 inches of snow.
Yeah. That's wild.
Way more than we had.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of places saw snow that don't know what that stuff even looks like. I heard a rumor, I haven't confirmed it, but somebody told me that it actually snowed in Jamaica. I was like, what? I believe that when I see it. But, we're going to be down there next month. We're getting ready to go on vacation. We leave on Valentine's Day. And
good.
I think we got 9 days down on the island. So, yeah, we love traveling to Jamaica. So, perfect. Well, on our transportation topics, Keith, I got a couple things. I think, very, very seldomly do we get to talk about times when common sense comes into regulations coming out of our federal government. But I think today, excuse me, I think today we actually have a pretty good topic that we can explain some common sense stuff, and then I'll kind of give an example of some not so common sense. I want to talk about it has come out that the energy marketers, the transportation of petroleum distillates, we're going to have some deregulation going on, where essentially we're going to be reverting back to a previous rule to 2015, the placarding, not necessarily placarding requirements, but the display of the identification number when you're transporting all flammable liquid products, petroleum distillates class 3. that the reversion is going to be that you only have to display the identification number of the commodity with the lowest flash point. So if you got like a multi-tank compartment cargo tank, and you've got I don't know, Jet A, you got gasoline, you got diesel fuel, any of the different types of petroleums in there, whichever has the lowest flash point would only be the one number that has to be displayed. So, you saw for years since they changed this that if you were in hazmat, you'd have to have all the different placards with all different ID numbers displayed. And
for each compartment.
For each compartment. And it was just... it was costly to the industry because they had to buy more placard holders. They had to do more training. They had to make sure everything was just right, and it was just a little bit more of a pain. So now we're back down for the petroleum distillates. We're going to be down to just the one placard with the ID number that's displayed inside that placard for the cargo tank. Or if
you say lowest flash point, so that's whatever one can go boom the easiest.
Yes, yeah, the biggest, the one, not the least dangerous, the most dangerous. So,
yes.
So in gasoline, you would be displaying 1203 if you were hauling just diesel fuel, 1993. And I think their point is for every one of those, each of the ID numbers displayed, when you get to the emergency response guide, the guides are the exact same. It's guide number 128 on every one of those, and so it made absolutely no sense to say it didn't matter. The fire department emergency response is always going to treat it the same way, even though you have every number. So it didn't make any sense of that situation. So with that being said, the federal government is deregulating that to make that a little bit more common sense. Now it says that it is going to go live upon publication of the Federal Register. So I have been waiting very patiently for that Federal Register to come out. Have not seen it yet, but that should be coming here pretty soon. So that's some big news for the hazmat industry. So good stuff.
That's good.
So not so common sense on the same side of things, talking about some like hazardous material. A lot of people ask like why the federal government does, makes the decisions they make. Well, if you go back and you look into the 2013 or to 2018 time frame, the federal government, when they added, transportation of combustion engines, and they've got three categories of that. So you've got transportation of combustion engines that are flammable gas powered, so powered by propane or LNG, that kind of thing, or flammable gas powered by flammable liquids, such as gasoline, diesel fuel, or you have the flammable gas by other powers, such as the batteries and things like that. Those would be your class 9s. So they listed that in the hazardous materials, all three of those engine types. So that makes anybody who transports a machine, could be a piece of yellow iron, but if any object that has a combustion engine inside it that's powered either by flammable gas, liquid, or by lithium batteries.
So a skid steer?
A skid steer
is considered hazmat.
Is considered hazmat. Yes. So, like I said, common sense rules versus not so common sense rules. Now, before you have a meltdown completely on that, which that's usually the reaction I get with the same rules that are saying this is hazmat. There's also the exception that says, oh, hey, well, you still don't have to do anything that's hazmat required. So, we're going to make you declare this, or we're on your MCS 150, your US DOT application, you have to declare yourself as a hazmat carrier, but you don't have to do absolutely anything when it comes to the hazardous material regulations. Now, that being said, there is a caveat. If they're an interstate commerce, okay, crossing that state line, and you carry that skid steer from here to Wyoming, okay, you have to have the MCS 90, the $1 million hazmat insurance endorsement. And so you do have to have that. You still don't have to do anything hazmat. No shipping papers, no placards. Okay. You do also, one other thing you have to have if you're in interstate commerce is you have to have the hazardous material training for the safety training, the security awareness training, the function specific training.
This doesn't make any sense.
Right. It makes absolutely zero common sense.
So if this guy's or gal is involved in an accident, and they've got the the insurance and everything like that. I mean, what's going to happen in court?
Well, I think it's just
a nightmare.
One more marker that the lawyers and everybody else are going to try to reach for deeper settlements. But yes, transportation. I mean, it could be anybody. You could have a guy that's mowing grass and he's got a lawnmower and a weed eater in the back of his truck. He's technically hazmat. Technically hazmat carrier.
Lawyers win again.
Yeah. So just one of those things. Like I said, just to really specify, yes, if you transport anything combustion machines, and I mean that list is it's forever. I mean it's like infinity. It goes on and on and on. I go into companies and talking to them, and when I explain, hey, we've got to indicate you on your MCS 150, they look at me like I'm absolutely crazy, and I would absolutely love to tell you that enforcement even has this figured out, but just earlier. Or late, it was either late last week or early this week. I think it might have been on Monday, actually. We had one of our clients get notified they're going through an audit, and the auditor says, well, they're hazmat carrier, and because we had to declare non-bulk class 3 flammable for their combustion engines, and we explained that, and he was like, oh, we thought this was a hazmat company. I'm like, well, I mean, technically they are, based on these not so common sense rules. So Just absolutely bizarre. So I'm glad we fixed this for the guidance on, the ID numbers. But hey, federal government, let's get our poop in a group and let's see if we can fix some other things like combustion engines. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. So yeah, I don't get it. So with that being said, truck around and find out. I've on the hazmat topic, I had to do a little bit of thinking and different type of topics come in and truck around and find out. And I have seen now twice recently a truck going down the road flying hazardous material placards, and the placards are laying on their side. So the like a square, and it says in the regulation that it's going to be a square placard, square on point is how it's supposed to be placed, meaning in a diamond pattern. So you want to make sure your placard's like, everybody listening to this probably is rolling their eyes like, duh. And that's kind of what I thought too, but it's amazing. I mean, one of them was a placard that was a self-adhesive. So the guy just stuck it to the side. The second one was an actual placard holder where somebody made the actual decision to like, hey, let's drill into the side of this vehicle and let's rivet this thing to the side of the vehicle.
I've got a
laying on its side.
Come on.
Yeah.
You gotta use it.
I mean, you want to truck around and find out. You go down the road with the placard laying on his side. I know a lot of troopers and be like, oh, I need to talk to that guy. Yeah. And it's
quickest way to get pulled over.
It's going to be a real interesting conversation. That is for sure. So yeah, make sure, train your guys, do your hazmat training. Remember, hazmat training's got to be done within 90 days of hiring somebody. And again, every 3 years for recurrent training. So get that. And yes, if you're hauling combustion engines across the state line, you have to have hazmat training. So I've got it whittled down to about an hour. I'm like, I don't need to put anybody through a full blown like, hey, this is the hazmat rules. Yeah. But guess what? You don't have to do anything with those. So, hey, we'll talk about emergency response in case you're spilling some diesel fuel.
The point to that is just make sure you're legal.
Yeah.
Because if something does happen, you get a sharp attorney, they'll find that. They'll find that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting. Well, Redbeard has got a TAFO of the day. So,
yeah. Well, speaking about hazmat stuff, I found a hazmat crash that happened on January 9th at about 3:30 a.m. on that Friday. And it was a truck carrying a whole trailer full of vanilla extract. And if you don't know, vanilla extract is vanilla beans and vodka, so it is flammable.
Oh.
And he spilled and lost pretty much all of that vanilla extract on the road on I-70 in Wheat Ridge. Shut down traffic for about 2 hours. Nobody got hurt.
Awesome.
But oh, yeah, he was trying to make some ice cream with all that snow.
That had to be the best smelling crash you ever come across.
I would imagine so.
Holy moly. So, yeah, placarded load of vanilla extract, huh? And he lost
wonder what the flash point is on that.
It's a good question. But usually they use not a high proof alcohol, usually just like
It's diluted, yeah.
something
Yeah.
between 40% on
Definitely
vodka.
diluted.
So,
Well, I never could understand. I remember as a small child smelling vanilla, thinking, "Oh, well, that's got to taste great," and you taste it, and it don't taste so great. Not good at all. So perfect. Well, what were the comments on that crash, Luke?
Oh,
Were
gosh,
there any
just-
good comments?
people said, my favorite one was somebody saying that we should no longer use vanilla extract in anything if it's dangerous to the environment, which that's just pretty funny.
Good for you for that. Those individuals that think that way, please do not consume anything with vanilla extract ever again. Ever. It'd probably be better for your health anyways. So, it's it's a alcohol. So, I guess people can't figure that
How
out.
come the vanilla that we get in Mexico is better than the vanilla we get here?
They use tequila, probably.
Tequila. I don't know, but I
Because
do.
it is way better.
It is,
I think it's just
100%.
because it's way more concentrated and just. I mean, it's like it's thick. I remember the first time I took a trip to Mexico. My grandma, my old Italian grandma Carmela, she was like, "Please get me some vanilla. It's the best down there." And I didn't know, so I got her a bottle and I got me a bottle, and my vanilla lasted me about. Oh, I don't know, 10 years. Her vanilla lasted her about a year because she was a baker. And I don't know.
I don't know how they make it differently, but
Definitely is. I probably just because they don't have the same regulations we have up here. And, who knows what happens with our stuff. There's a lot of things we do different. But
I got a quick note on the TAFO. I've heard, again, another guy came in and said, hey, Trump's getting rid of DEF on all these trucks and everything. And that is just not true. Got a meeting. I can probably bring it up in the next podcast. I got a meeting tomorrow with Cummins on the new motor coming out January 1st.
That'd be a good episode.
So I'll have a lot more information on that shortly. But I do know, and I have been told by Cummins, that DEF consumption on an engine it's going to go up, not much, maybe 1% more. So DEF is not going away. And we've heard that. I don't know how many coffee shops that is going around or if they've got posters up, but that's not true.
The rumor mill is live. That is a real thing. I would imagine it's just some truck stops across the nation.
Totally.
There's a bunch of old guys in there just making it up as they go.
And I would like nothing more than to see it go away.
Oh, yeah.
I would.
It'd make your
I
life
think
easier, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes. Much easier.
So on that topic, though, we keep talking about with Keith these new engines that are coming out and everything else. And I believe Mr. Rocky Mountain Peterbilt over there has probably got some beautiful trucks that don't have this new engine, all this new technology. Probably a good idea to really consider, getting your hands on some of that stuff because, hear about when?
Well, I'd say by mid-year, Peterbilt will probably be sold out.
Yeah.
And all manufacturers will probably be sold out because of pre-buying as this coming January.
Yeah.
So that bigger fleets will place their 200, 300, 400, 500 truck orders.
Yeah, and then we're going to be into that new engine, and it comes with more government technology and all these different requirements, and it's going to bring you a whole new set of problems. So I would say you get into one of these trucks with the older technology, probably ought to make some moves on that now. And Mr. Rocky Mountain Peterbilt's Keith Couch, he's one of the best dealers that I know and sales reps, and he really cares for his customers. So make sure you give him a call. He can get you hooked up at least while things are still in stock. So yeah, definitely be reaching out. So perfect. Well, anybody got anything else to add today?
Nope.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Everybody out there, truck drivers, thank you for your work that you do, keeping America moving forward. And we appreciate you. Keep our shiny side up out there, and we'll catch you on the next podcast.
Okay. God bless you guys.